Hotel magnate John Fitzpatrick is used to being the boss. He is the president and CEO of the Fitzpatrick's Hotel Group in Manhattan. But he's leaving this lifestyle behind to go undercover in some of the most deprived areas of Dundalk.
It's pretty rough, you know, just down the street.
While looking for people to help, John will discover that there is a side to Ireland he didn't realise existed.
We all think we've got problems, and, you know, we don't have problems when you see that.
He'll make new friends and experience how others live their lives.
What would it really be like doing this full time? Kind of walking the streets at night time on my own saying, you know, what's it like to be lonely?
None of the people he'll meet will know his true identity. And at the end of his stay, he'll give away tens of thousands of euro of his own money when he reveals he's the secret millionaire. "50-year-old John Fitzpatrick is the head of a hugely successful luxury hotel group in New York City. John doesn't like to think of himself as a millionaire.
I don't like using that word. I just say I'm comfortable, you know, because tomorrow it could be gone. There's people better off than me, less off than me. I would say I'm middle of the road, but I do feel I'm very lucky and I'm very fortunate.
John learnt his trade in the family hotel business, growing up in the Killiney Castle Hotel, run by his late father in South County Dublin.
When I worked for my father back in Ireland, I mean, it was definitely, there's no doubt about it, he was watching us all. I suppose you're always trying to impress your parents.
Okay, thanks.
Our father had a huge control over it, so, you know, I didn't like that, and I wanted to be a little bit independent. So I was the one who wanted to just go off on my own and do my own thing.
Hi, guys. We busy?
20 years ago, John left Ireland for New York. He now owns 2 luxury hotels in Manhattan and splits his time between Manhattan and his luxurious home in the Hamptons.
I make sure I take the weekends off if I can in the summer when it's not too busy. I am a little spoiled. I like buying second-hand cars, and I like buying old cars and doing them up and things like that. And I love gadgets. I'm a gadget freak. This is what I play with at night time. I'm not into pool tables and billiard tables. I'm a big kid at heart, that's what I was told.
John isn't married, and most of his time is spent at the hotel.
If I am dating someone or something, I get the same comments from them all that, you know, you're married to your work, that's number one. And, you know, if someone pushes me too much, I'll say, yeah, I am married to my work.
John is direct, he's tough. Don't try beating around the bush with him, and don't try to pull one over on him, because he's quite smart.
As a powerful figure on the Irish-American scene, John's life is a whirlwind of social events and cocktail parties.
Ian Paisley. Mr. Paisley, I'm in the middle of the rugby in our boardroom where you were with Charlie Bird.
I mean, I've met a lot of people over the years, but that's because I'm in the hotel business and they're staying with me. It's not that I'm hanging out with these celebrities every day. We're all business related. Somewhere along the way, it's getting the name out and meet such and such, make a contact. I could have 4 or 5 receptions to go to a night, and I'll hit the drinks on one, and I hit the reception in the other, and then dessert in the other one.
Another central part of John's life is the charitable foundation he set up in his parents' name.
My mum passed away, and I was afraid that she'd be forgotten. And I turned around and I said, I'm doing something, because she's not going to be forgotten.
Through Cooperation Ireland and the Ireland Fund, John's foundation has raised millions over the years to support projects back home in Ireland.
I think everybody has an obligation to give back. I think we have a responsibility.
While Manhattan charity fundraisers are one way of giving, this week John is going to be experiencing a whole new way of helping people in need.
A week on the ground, you know, he has to leave the Hermes behind and the cut suits, and worst of all, the BlackBerry. That's going to test that belief. That's going to be tough, you know. The dependence anxiety on the phones, the iPad, the iPhone, I'll tell you something, he'll be grinding his teeth by the end of it, you know.
What am I going to do? You know, if I can't use my BlackBerry and I can't use my phone sitting in an apartment or a flat on my own, that would freak me out now. That would freak me out. So I'm going to be busy, you know what I mean?
Good. Debbie?
He's a people person. He's a constant contact person. That will be the toughest part of the whole thing for him, is not being able to to touch base with us on a regular basis.
They've never seen John leave. And, I was going home last night thinking, I was starting to get ready to pack, and I'm saying, how am I going to handle this?
Today, this never-out-of-touch, hands-on workaholic is going to leave his hotels and his BlackBerry behind for the first time in 20 years.
I'll fit in perfect. I'll be fine.
So here we go. One of those. Well, I don't know what I let myself in for, but anyway, here we go.
I have a great life, and I don't apologise for having a good life because I've worked bloody hard for it. I work 80, 90, 100 hours a week, so to hell with it. I'm not making any apologies, but I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. So I feel it's about giving back.
For the next 8 days, John is going to be living undercover. He's going to be looking for people who might need his help. He's travelling to Dundor, an hour north of Dublin in County Louth.
You can see there's a lot of rough-looking housing estates, and I'd say, low income. It looks pretty dismal.
The border counties are among some of the most disadvantaged parts of Ireland, and Dundalk couldn't be further from the places John is used to.
It's kind of depressing to see houses with no windows, boarded up. So, bit of a shock.
During his week undercover, John will be spending time in some of the poorest estates in the town and living in a flat on Main Street. For the next 8 days, he will have no contact with his business or friends back home.
When I get into the apartment, well, I didn't expect a huge amount, but she's that little single bed. But it is against the wall, so I can't roll out of it. There'll be no room service here this week, anyway. It's not Fitzpatrick's. So it's, it'll do. I do have guests. It's not like looking down Fifth Avenue, I can tell you that.
While in Dundalk, he'll tell people that his name is John Dunn, that he emigrated to the US during the last recession, and having recently lost his job, he's back here to film a documentary about this current recession. John will have to survive on the equivalent of social welfare.
50, 60, 70, 80, 91. I definitely won't be going out for dinner this week.
John is keen to start looking for people or projects that may need his help, and he heads to the local shopping centre to begin his research.
I'm just on the internet here. I'm looking, my heart is really in youth projects. Something to do with young people, communities. Basically what I just did is I Googled Dundalk community centres and then gone under the youth end of it and just working my way through it.
He comes across a youth project in a local housing estate.
Group was established in 1987, a disadvantaged area, County Louth. They offer a range of youth services, summer youth projects, after-school services, and youth clubs, and second chance. This looks interesting. I'll take this number down, and we'll try to give them a call and see.
The Second Chance project is in Cox's Domain, one of the largest social housing estates in the country. It is one of 2 designated disadvantaged areas in Dundalk.
Hello, how are you, John?
Hi, John. How are you? Delighted to see you.
How you doing?
Very
How are
welcome.
you? What's going on here today?
This is the Second Chance project that are here, John, and they're a group that, for one reason or another, they couldn't manage a full day in the formal education system, so they're still enrolled pupils of the local VEC school, and they attend school for 2 hours a day, and they're here for 4 hours.
There are 12 teens on the Second Chance project. It is an alternative education model for teenagers at risk of involvement in drugs and antisocial behaviour.
Some of them, in fairness, would have had negative experiences maybe of the school system and of authority generally. So I suppose we work very hard at building up positive relationships, adult relationships with them. And then, yeah, at times it's about challenging the behaviour too, you know, because there would be, I mean, you know, there are different kind of emotional and behavioural issues that have to be faced as well.
So girls, if I asked you to cook me something, would you be able to cook me something? So Samantha, why are you here?
Kicked out of school.
You got kicked out of school? For what?
For inappropriate behaviour.
So, and you find it here good? Is it helping you?
Yes, I've quieted down a lot now.
And 1 more hour after a court date is
9:15. When I look at the kids there, it's kind of brings back kind of a kicks me a bit. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I got through school, but I hated it.
You're dead on. Keep going. You're on the right track.
I can relate to those kids. I see them there working away, and I'm saying the poor guys and the poor girls, I would hate to be back there.
The best soup. Can I try it? You didn't put anything in it now, I shouldn't have in it. It's excellent. Very good. I tell you, any woman I've ever gone out with, none of them can cook. So fair dues, yes. Beautiful. There you go. Better try the soup. It's oranges. I thought the soup. Where was the soup? Cut.
The Cox's Domain Youth Group was started in 1991 by local man Brian Doyle, who persuaded the council to donate 2 derelict houses to the project. 20 years on, they have a staff of 13. The art teacher, Mark, was himself once involved in violent gang rivalry on the estate.
So, Mark, how are you getting on here? How did you get involved with here?
When I was about his age, when I was 15 or 16, I was up to my head in trouble. So when I started coming to groups here, it started to realise, started dawn on me that
this is the way to do it.
Yeah, it's the right way to go. And it's not even, it wasn't even just me. Like, it was a heap of kids from around the area. We've done really well because of this place.
It's great to have someone like there that's going to be able to correct and say, look, I've been there, don't do that, you know. So I mean, it seems to be, it's got a oozing with talent in there. When I see young kids, you hate to see them getting astray. So when people are trying to get them back into normal society, it's my type of project. Now the question though is, are they funded enough? You know, because of their expertise, you know, they seem to have all the ways of getting the money and knowing how to apply for them. But we have to check. We're going to do a little bit more research on that this week. I didn't come in here with my eyes closed, you know, but, you know, we saw some stuff today that's, it kind of puts you in a kind of a depressing mode.
It's John's first morning in Dundalk, and he's feeling energised.
Went down again and paid a little bit of money. I'm still in my budget here, but I got some cleaning stuff, and I just decided to give the place a good clean over. And picked up 2 more mice traps, because I did see one last night, so I'll catch the guys before the end of the week.
Having settled into his new home, John is keen to find out more about Dundalk. He spots an article in the local paper about a nearby housing estate.
Yeah, there's an article here. Some guy done a survey showing drug use in one of the estates. So this might be an interesting one to look at.
The article is about the Millionaire estate, one of Dundalk's 2 designated disadvantaged areas. A recent survey suggests that unemployment there is 4 times the national average and that the estate is plagued by a growing drug problem. John decides to start looking for a youth-focused project in the Millionaire area.
I just want to find out what's going on. Great.
After a few calls, he's on his way to the Crave Rua Community House. It provides support and activities for children on the estate so that they have somewhere safe to hang out. Millionaire was once notorious for gang-related violence. Although those days are over, drugs are the big problem now, and with them come the usual problems of antisocial behaviour and violence, putting young people here at risk. The youth group is run in a small council house on the estate.
This is it. This is Craverborough Community House.
How are you, girls? How are you?
One of the women running it is Jacinta Grimes.
We do drug awareness, sexual health. Knife crime is the up-and-coming thing now.
That's right.
Because it's a lot of young people are carrying weapons at the minute, you know, maybe for protection, as they think it's for protection, but if they get into a fight and their tempers are up, it's more than likely that they will. You know, if you have a knife in your pocket, they'll pull it out in a split second and it can ruin their lives, you know.
Caroline is a senior youth worker. She's in charge of the after-school project. Children from different backgrounds can come here to do their homework in a supportive environment. The aim is to keep local children in school out of trouble and off the streets.
What's your name?
Courtney.
Courtney.
Mary.
Mary.
Kiva.
Eva. So, you're working very hard here, I can see.
Yeah.
And we are probably disturbing you.
No, not really.
So if they're doing the homework here, but if they get into, they can't answer something or they can't figure, there's always somebody here.
Of course, yeah, they're being supervised.
Supervised, exactly. Rather than going home and trying to just do it on their own.
That's it, and finding difficulty in not doing it and then getting behind at school and the whole lot. That there is support here.
And they can concentrate here.
Yeah.
So listen to me, how are your feet not cold? If this house, the house wasn't there, you wonder what would happen to them, because, you know, some of them are pretty wild, and if they're falling behind in school, then that's what leads to, well, I need to prove myself, or I need to be, you know, maybe a part of a gang or something. Who's this dog? Is this your dog?
What? No, I take care of it.
What do you mean you take care of him?
Nobody wanted him, so I just...
So you took and looked after him?
Yeah, I looked after him.
Lovely. I saw you hanging around the after school. Are we in the school, or are you just...
What? No, just like hanging around there and all.
No.
I want to be a billionaire, so friggin' mad.
Amazing place. I mean, these young kids, very shy when we walked in, kind of reserved, and all of a sudden they just opened up. It's great.
Close my eyes.
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm a singer.
What would you do?
Well, if you're singing, you know, you get a load of money and all, and I like to take care of my friends and my family. The world better prepare for when I'm a billionaire. If I didn't become famous, I'd go to college and make like really good, like something happen in my life, instead of just hanging around being a wee scumbag all the time, you know.
Joel lives around the corner and calls in here most days. He's often been bullied because of his background.
So what's it like growing up here?
There's a few scummy people living around here, so I was traveller and all. And they always call me knackers or something, or gypsies, or gyppo or something.
Listen, you know what? What do they say? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Always away. Joel's from a traveller background, and when you start telling you about what people call him and things like that, it's just, I think it's awful. You know, but that's what you're living in. And it's, you know, the kids are probably calling them, probably don't know what they're doing. They don't understand that it affects them. They just think it's a joke. So it's sad. It's sad.
All the different words.
While the focus here is on the children, some evenings they also run workshops to help local mothers deal with some of the issues they face on the estate.
Why do you think people get involved in joyriding?
What else to do?
Yeah, there you go. Now you're on.
Wow, you're rocking.
The women themselves years ago would have seen a need for it to meet up and to empower themselves and to build up their own confidence, to get them out of the house if they weren't working, to get them back into education, to empower them not to be staying just at home, that there is options out there, and so that they would get fully support and support their own children.
Well, my complaint would be about the noise and the trouble that they are causing in the estate. The parents maybe not giving the young people enough time to their children and to their needs.
Good night. The work they're doing here is very, very important. All these communities, you know, they've got their tough spots, and but again, what we're finding out here, you know, this area here, you know, because there may be one or two groups that may be bad, it's kind of giving an overall picture of the whole area, and it's not fair. Look at Joel. It's important to keep guys like that away from all the other stuff, you know, and it's going to be hard as a kid, you know, if you're living around it and you're going to be enticed into it. So any work that can be done by these, making sure that their kids are safe,
It's so inspiring.
The next morning, John is back on the Murhivnamore estate. He's on his way to visit Cuddigling, an organisation that helps old and vulnerable people in the area. Because of the drug problem here, there are sometimes incidents of antisocial behaviour, and the elderly are particularly vulnerable.
The elderly do have a lot of concerns about their own security. They're worried about antisocial behaviour. If a house is not well maintained, it may attract people, to gather in certain areas, because they may believe that a house is abandoned when it's actually not. Because what we're dealing with mostly is people who are on their own. They don't have family around them to help them to do things like that. And so they can turn to us then, and we will go out and do that sort of work for them.
Cuddigling is run by local woman Andrea Connolly.
Basically, you're working out of a shed, if you don't mind me saying so. Maybe you can give me a bit of background. What are the different things you do here?
Well, we have a visitation service, which entails the women going out and just really house calls. Rapping the door, going in for a chat and a cup of tea, just kind of helping to break the isolation that some elderly people do feel. It could be someone just phoning to say, listen, I'm not able to go and pick my prescription up, and we'll go and pick a prescription up. And then we have a maintenance service, which if an elderly person needs some maintenance carried out in their homes, such as maybe painting and decorating, then the maintenance men will carry out that for a small community fee.
Cuddigling charge a €5 fee to the elderly people for whom they do maintenance work. And like most community groups, they're suffering badly from cutbacks.
2010, we lost our running costs, which was 18,500. It's a lot of money. And one of the ways maybe to try to create more money would be to put our prices up for maintenance work. It's not really feasible, to put prices up for. It's kind of defeating the purpose.
Andrea offers to take John with her on one of her care visits. She's on her way to see Tim and Diane. They are both disabled and have been on a council waiting list for years now for a wheelchair-friendly bungalow. In the meantime, they are virtually housebound.
Things have been hard for them, as you can imagine, depression and whatever, sitting and waiting.
In a wheelchair.
Both are wheelchair-bound. Oh, Kathleen, good morning.
Kathy, you're great. How are you?
Oh, here we go. How did you go yesterday at the hospital?
It was okay. It was a long day.
Just looking at the house, I mean, there's 2 stories here, so I presume you guys can't get upstairs. So you probably haven't. How long is it since you were upstairs in the house?
I've never been upstairs in this house because I was in a wheelchair from when we.
My God, that's right.
When we came to this house, Diane used to before she was in the wheelchair.
How long are you in the wheelchair?
5 years.
So basically, upstairs is never used.
Yeah. And it's a real struggle to try and live in this house. Diane can't go to bed because there's not room in the bedroom.
You're serious?
So it's quite a problem to us. But we hope it might be resolved soon, but you just never know.
If they weren't around, you'd really be in trouble, wouldn't you?
Yeah. They've been such a great help to us, prescriptions in the winter when neither of us could go out. And sometimes it's the little things to other people, but they can be vitally important to you. All of the ladies who've been here have not made you feel in any way that you're a burden to them, and that's great. It's lovely to feel that way.
And by the same token, it's not every day you need us. Just if you do need, we're at the end of the phone, just lift the phone. If we can be of help, fantastic.
And it's company as well, besides all the other things, which is very important,
Well, that's it.
You kind of feel annoyed when you walk out of there. And as I said, kind of reflect on myself. We all think we've got problems, and, we don't have problems when you see that. Basically, Tim sleeps on the bed because he's diabetes and he has to have the machines connected to him. So Diane, basically, there's no room for her, so she kind of, from what I gather, pulls the wheelchair up to the side of the bed and just puts her head on it. I mean, and that's not just for the last month or so. I don't know, from what I gather, it must be the last 5 years or so.
It's horrific. Seeing... I can't, sorry. be honest with you, when I was coming down here, you know, side of me saying, why am I taking a week off? What am I doing this for? But after being here for the last few days, kind of looking back and saying to myself, what are we worried about? What have we got? You know, if we lost everything tomorrow, it's a horrible to say we'd be better off to still some of these people. We'd find a way of getting on, and they found a way of getting on. So I just admire them, I really do. I really do. This is Ireland. And with the last 10 years of Celtic Tiger, you know, you can see some of the places haven't changed. When when everybody grew, you know, and expanded, some places just stayed the same. Or maybe now got worse.
It's the morning after John's house call with Andrea, and he's heading out to see the repair side of their work with Cudgegling maintenance man Kieran.
What did you do? What was your full of painter and decorator?
Yeah, I would have relied to an extent on the building industry, obviously. So we all got a kick in the teeth. But I'm delighted to do this, you know. And as I say, I really do enjoy it.
When I was in the car with Kieran, he started asking me questions, you know, whereabouts I came from, what were you doing, and I did do a lot of bullshit stories with him, and you know, you feel like it's not a good feeling, but you know, we know the end result's going to be okay, but at the time, you feel like you're deceiving them or something. So it's a bit uncomfortable.
Teresa, you're there.
Kieran and the other maintenance men are employed part-time on a community scheme. The €5 charge for their work is spent entirely on the running costs of the organisation.
Would you give me a screwdriver? I don't want to damage the heads in
The work he does, I think he does it, well, he does do it because he loves doing it, because it's not for the money. I think they get paid €164 a week. I mean, it's ridiculous. But he does it because he likes going on. I think he loves meeting people and making sure they're all okay.
For my height and all.
Is it?
Perfect for my height. Ideal. And it means I have security in the shower, as I have a very bad knee. And I need that. And that balance is bad. So that is perfect here. Thank you very much. Yeah, that is ideal. This also is very hot, so I wouldn't need to touch that. I need the rail.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you very, very much good. Indeed.
As long as you're happy?
Very happy.
Does he come around often to look after you, does he?
Yes. Kieran and Tony and Peter have been coming to me for 3 years. Helping with gardens, helping with decorating. And I don't have anyone to do anything. And they are lovely, lovely people and excellent workmen.
Oh, she's not quite good in there. It's like Star Trek. You just materialise.
You get
Come on,
no
Tracy,
tea.
you know I don't drink tea when I'm working.
And you mentioned before that they were like family to you.
Oh, they are like family.
And your daughter's got away.
She's gone and my son is gone, so
Great.
I'm kind of on my own. They come and take over and do the bits and pieces for me. I'd be lost without them.
She used a term that I loved. She says, John, they're family. And that's what makes it so special. I mean,
Hello. Oh, look at this, my painter.
Yes. Can we come in?
Yes.
Do you mind?
Yes, of course. Come in.
Thanks very much.
he's good to you, is he? He looks after you.
Oh, yeah. It's because it's so lonely here. It's very depressing. And especially in the winter time, we'd be glad to see them.
He says, I'll always have a cup of tea before I start. I said, that's just the thing. I don't come in and just work. I come in and sit down, and that's probably just as important as putting the handrails up in the bathroom this morning. If these guys weren't around, who would be doing that for them?
It's midway through John's week undercover, and he's adapting well to his new life in Dundalk.
You know, when I come back here on my own at night time, I tell myself, how am I going to, just It's because it is kind of depressing. But it actually, I said, gave me time to think, and especially after the busy days. I mean, so much was thrown at me during the day that it's time to reflect. No one's around, and there's no TV, there's no distraction, no computers. You know what? I haven't missed my BlackBerry. I was just thinking that today. I said, you know, I thought I'd be lost, but the days are just flown, and when you get back here, you just want to sleep.
As the week is coming to an end, John has decided to return to Moorhivna to spend a little more time with some of the children at the Craobh Rua Community House.
Hi girls, how are you? Joel, how are you? How are you? If we can help young people now to try and keep them off the streets, and any changes we can do, I think it's one area that I'm really kind of beginning to focus in on. I have no phone. My phone wouldn't work here. I have an American phone.
Well, where are you from?
But I live in New York.
What? Serious?
Yeah. Serious? Yeah.
Really? You live in New York? Tell that dog stop.
Class.
Where are we going?
Where are we going? Where are you going to take me inside? Come on, we go to the kitchen with me. Come on.
Come on.
Show me the way.
Go on, John.
The aim of the Craobh Rua Youth Centre is to give children a safe place to go, but also to keep them out of trouble and teach them skills that are directly relevant to their own lives. Today, Jacinta is doing a class on the dangers of carrying a knife.
Agree or disagree?
I'm not sitting there because I have to do it. Like we were in school, sometimes you'd sit, you have to go to this class. She wouldn't listen. So if they're in that room, they're listening, you know, and it's great.
If you carry a knife, there's 90% of a chance that you're going to get stabbed yourself, sharp iron. And this could be the results, even if, Teresa, someone has a knife and they poke you with it. Yeah, you can. If they poke you with it,
oh my
right?
God.
Even a small stab wound. A stab wound doesn't have to be too big to kill you. Even a small cut to the arm or leg can sever a major artery. So it's actually safer not to carry a knife, because if someone approaches you with a knife, what do you do?
They're going to whip out the knife themselves and probably stab you first.
You leave the house without.
As a kid, we all hung around the streets. We were always messing around, doing stupid things. Maybe we were just lucky that we didn't get into it in the wrong gang. And it's very easy to get into it. And so that's what worries me too, because they're the next generation. They're the ones that are, you know, let's be straight, they're the ones, if they don't get it right now, you know, how are they going to end out? You know, when you look at Joel, you worry because he's at that age. We're at that age where we were at that. And you can see him, he's hyper. He could go either way. And the idea now is to make sure he doesn't go the other way. And if someone could just make sure he could help him some way, I mean, you could imagine what he could do, you know, if he had half the chance.
Another aim of the youth group is to teach children skills they might not learn otherwise, like healthy nutrition. Today, they're learning to bake.
Jessica, you know what? I have never cooked in my life. Never cooked. But every time I go into the house, it's different, you know.
But as I said earlier, I feel like coming home. It reminded me of actually when I was a kid, living in Wexford.
You can put her fingers in after. That's the only thing I do remember making cake, is licking the bowl after.
I'm licking the bowl.
I mean, since I moved, and in the last 20 years, I mean, forgot all about that, what that was like, because you were never in that situation. So it's great. It is a bit of a community. And I like, too, if you're on your own or something, you can walk out, just walk in the middle of the grass patch there, and you end up kicking the ball with someone. And, you know, that's the difference where, you know, if you're staying in a house where you've got to go out through gates and nobody sees you. But if you were living there, it's that lovely feeling of, sure, I'll just go out and see what's going on in the street. You know what it felt like? A bit of medicine. I don't know, whatever it is. It's just... it just flows, and it's a lovely feeling. You come back, you leave there energized.
John is keen to see what else is being done in the area to help keep kids out of trouble. So he decides to drop into a local boxing club that some of the children told him about. The club is run by local former boxing champion Paul Taff. He's passionate about the sport and volunteers all his spare time at the club. He's determined to give everyone a chance.
We'll take anybody who wants it to help them on in their career or their life. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you come in here, what do you call it, 2 heads, 4 arms, you'll be helped. Nobody will make you laugh here. It doesn't make any difference what you are. Fellas around at 14 or 15, they're neither boy nor man, up to 14 to 17, so they're changing the wee hormones or whatever they have, and the same with the girls, and they go off the rails. But they're just lost at that time, you know what I mean? There's rules and regulations that goes with the club. There's a code of conduct, right? They're not allowed to be smoking, drinking, they're not allowed to be intimidating people, they're not allowed to be fighting. Simple things like that, there are general things, something that won't pull the club down.
I used to be in gangs myself, so I did, but then I quit them all.
You did quit the gangs?
Yeah. Like, there used to be about 15, 20 of us. So we'd like go around terrorising and that there, like.
And then by coming here, kind of just
yeah, like it took me off the streets completely, so that like I've been here flat out every night that it has been on.
So you've focused from one area to a totally different area.
Yeah.
Gives you, as you say, confidence, brings up your strength.
Yeah, like it teaches you how to like control yourself, and it's completely changed my life.
Are you the next Katie Taylor? Yeah. Oh! Well, it was a great setup in there. Everybody was there was volunteers. I mean, I counted about, I think, 12 or 14 volunteers. It's really good. It's a great cause, and I think it's great for the community. So, like everything again, I just have to think about it and sleep on it. I can't support them all. I mean, I wish I could, but I'll just have to put in priority, and probably, I hate to say it, but put my business hat back on now and take away the other side.
Millionaire Manhattan hotelier John Fitzpatrick is almost at the end of his week undercover in Dundalk. Today is John's last day to decide who he can help and how.
Well, I'm trying to make a decision here now of who I give it to and who I don't give it to. It's very hard. They all need help, you know, but now I've got to kind of go through it and see. I have to make sure the information and kind of research it. And it's good to be able to run down to the internet cafe every so often and just pull them up just to check the background and make sure, you know, that we're right. And it's now probably going to try and tie it down to who's the most needy.
John has decided to make one last visit to the boxing club at a quieter time for a chat with Paul.
I'm heading back to the boxing club because I just want to find out more about it. The other night was very noisy and things were going on. And more about Paul, see what Paul's all about. I presume they come from all estates, all areas, or whatever estate.
Well, we have them all. We have them from the Key, Cox, the Main, Fadham at Cullerville, Town. So they're coming in from everywhere, and it's a nice family unit we have.
O'Hanlon Boxing Club is run out of this rented hall. Everyone here is a volunteer. Paul and his team have to set everything up from scratch, as well as dismantle the lot 3 times a week for each training session.
This is our training now for the week.
This is my workout for the day.
This is our workout for the day.
It's a warm-up anyway.
It's a good warm-up, yeah.
A little bit of help.
We're putting an awful lot of time within the club, giving our time free, and to help these children along the way. And that's where we're coming from. And all they have to do is behave themselves. Help me. Help me. Bring them up. 1, 2, 3. Push it.
Do they have to pay to come in?
Well, it's €2 per child. And what happens to that €2? That covers everything for the child. So when a child comes into our club and we take them away, it costs them absolutely nothing.
And if they come in and they don't have the €2?
It doesn't make any difference. It's not about the money. At the end of the day, we will always get money somewhere along the line for to take these children away. You know what I mean?
So if they can put it in.
They can put it in. If they can afford it, they can afford it. Nobody's watching them. Right. And what happens is some of the parents who come in and see what we are doing for their children, they send us a few pounds in sometimes. It's unbelievable how you get money.
Is that right?
It's unbelievable, yeah. Okay. You know what I mean?
I'm here 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
So you must be a fairly good boxer then?
Yeah.
No?
I went one night and then she killed him. No, and then he nearly fell out of the ring.
He nearly fell out of the ring?
Yeah. When you were around my age, you'd be a world champion.
The club doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the community. No one person owns the club. I started it up, put my name onto everything, and it's about getting the whole community to interact.
I think Paul doesn't seem to be worried too much about the money, where I presume he is worried, but he feels that it's more about the organisation. It's more about he's set up. It's all the volunteers he has. They all want it. Everybody is behind him. So I don't know, but I definitely consider it. I set up a fund in honour of my parents when they died, but I'm going to put in 20,000 euros of my own money, and I'm going to get the fund to match it. So then we have 40,000 euros. So I think with that type of money, we'll be able to do some good work. The difficult decision to make is who gets it, and because every one of them are fantastic and do great jobs, but there's only so much money. So I've now got to think, which is going to be tough, to figure out who do we give it to.
Once a week, the children from Crave Rua practice hip-hop dancing. Their own house is too small, so they rent a nearby hall, and Caroline and Jacinta have asked John along for the afternoon.
All the kids we met, are just so positive and so confident. It's great to see them so.
So everything that we do is to build up their confidence and to hold out, to go out into the world, no matter where they're from.
In some areas, there may be a stigma attached to where people come from. Is that the case here?
Yeah, even if they go out at night and go into town, like, they could be asked, like, where are you from? And if they say Mahadmore or even Cox's, they'll say, no, not tonight. And they think by letting them in, there's going to be trouble. And then what do? They drink on streets. Then it's called antisocial behaviour, you know what I mean? But it's actually society that's causing it, and other people,
Are you worried now because every community is getting cuts? Has that crossed your mind? I'm sure it has.
We've already been cut 10% now already this year. A lot of the programme have been cut over since last year, the year before. There's not much more that they can take. So a lot of our stuff is fundraised even from scratch.
If we had more money, maybe we'd be able to get a bigger place and put the extension out onto the back, and you can have more kids in, because at any one time we can only work with 10 children in the room downstairs. It's only big enough for the likes of the dancing. Like, there's no way they could do their dancing in the house.
No way.
You have to rent a hall, which costs money that could be spent on the kids.
John's time undercover is nearly over, and tomorrow he'll reveal his true identity.
Very nervous about tomorrow, about how they're going to react, because, we've kind of been lying. I hate that word, lying, but we have that kind of not been telling the truth, and it's going to be a bit funny, but certain things I'd like to do and help do. These people were never looking for anything. Every group we met just welcomed us in, showed us around, gave us the background, had no idea. So on top of that, now they're going to get something. I want to give this gift because I think these people are really sincere and they really put their heart and soul into it. It's their life.
As far as everyone else is concerned, John has simply come along to say goodbye.
Listen, you have been good to me all week, and thanks for letting us in and letting me in and participate. I've probably been a pain in your butt hanging around, but anyway, I want to thank you. What you and Kieran do has really inspired me. So, I want to tell you something. I haven't been totally honest with you all week. I'm not doing a documentary on the recession in Ireland. I'm a very successful business person, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to help. And what I'd like to do is give you a cheque for 15,000 euros
which I'd love to go to help buy a second vehicle so you can help visit more of the elderly around here, and the balance to be used to help the running costs.
No way, Jim.
Yes, darling.
That's sick. I can't believe you.
Listen, you are fantastic. You know.
Honest to God.
Was I able to fool you? Was I able to fool you always?
Honest to God and heaven. Delighted. Absolutely delighted.
Yeah,
That
sorry,
would do so
different.
much for us. John's after giving us.
Yes, this is a check.
Yes, for us. It's after giving us.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You don't think you believe it, do you?
Unbelievable.
It's been a fantastic week for me. You know, and I've learned a lot myself.
Good.
I really have, you know.
Thank God.
Massive difference. I'm just, my head's just spinning. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
To see all you guys, it's just fantastic. It's just, you show the real side of our community. And you know what I mean?
I'm just in shock.
If what you're doing in America ever goes tits up, you can have a job here.
You know what?
We help
You know? This gift is for a guy who just puts his whole life into the community, and everybody can see the good that comes out of it.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great guy. But listen, I just want to thank you in Shoulders Round the Club. It's just fantastic what you do for the kids. Give them their self-esteem, give them their confidence, which they need. And basically, you do it all on your own time. You don't get paid for it. And I have to just say, I really admire you for that. But I have to be honest with you. We're not doing a documentary on the recession in Dundalk. Now, it's something very small, but Paul, I'd like to give you a cheque for just €2,000 for the kids.
Lovely job.
To help you, just buy kits and whatever else is needed for you. It's only something small, but what I saw
and
the
there's
kids.
nothing, in giving something to children like this here, it's not small, it's massive. One set of gloves in the club could mean about 2 years' work out of a child. Thanks a million.
Listen, my buddy.
Head on. Thanks, John. It will go a long way. In boxing terms, it's a massive load of money for the children, and it's well appreciated. I appreciate it, and I know they will appreciate it. And it'll keep them going for the next 2 or 3 years anyway. And I'm just delighted. I'm speechless, that's what I'm going to say to you. So, and I haven't been speechless before.
This gift is for a group of people who I think really need the most help of all the projects I've looked at during the week. And I think this will be a start. It won't be enough, but it'll be a start to get them really where they want to get. How are you, girls? Oh, they're all very serious. Karen, give me a call for God's sake. Oh, Jesus. Now, I haven't been totally honest with you all week, so I feel pretty bad about it. I'm not doing a documentary. I own 2 hotels in Manhattan, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to help you. This has been hard for me all week, lying to you. What I'd like to do is give you a cheque for €20,000 to go through the new extension, but also to help the kids, take them away. Seriously, here you are. Here's the cheque. And it's not a joke. Oh, you thought I was joking. Come here, seriously.
Oh my God. And I haven't even got my glasses on. I can't see the 20,000 on it.
I don't think the house would be the house without you two. You two are the heart and soul of the house. No, seriously, I tell you, it is, you know. So I want to just say to you, well done. I've never seen, I mean, I walk in the door, I feel like it's home. And I feel what the kids feel. And it's just
lovely. He really is a lovely man. I think when you're working with kids, you do think of them as your family, and John kind of just slotted in there. So he's a lovely man, you know. He's even nicer now.
John has just one last person to see before going.
How are you? Outside playing football?
What?
Out playing football?
Yeah.
All right. You're not in trouble, so don't worry. Now, listen, I've been here a few days, all right? Yeah. And I'm just watching you. You're a great kid, all right? And more important, too, you're a great singer.
Thanks.
All right? You have a great gift, and I want you to try and expand it, all right? What I want to do for you is I want to give you 6 months singing lessons.
Yeah, it was a really big surprise, and I never thought I'd get that opportunity.
Listen, I want to say it to you. You're the best, all right?
I thought I was going to cry, actually.
You're the best.
I really pressed that.
All right.
You don't think these things is going to happen, especially really and truly in Merheaven you don't think of anything like that's going to happen. We just get on with what we have, use it the best positive way that we can, and try to knock down all the negativity that's around these young people and just get on with it. So just picture what can happen now with 20,000. It's just amazing.
It will make a huge difference.
It is emotional, I have to say. It's listen, the whole week's been emotional, highs and lows, but tonight was just very special to see, you know, we can do something for them. I think I'll feel even happier when I see that extension there and all the kids in the one room. I'm going to walk away from this today saying, yep, I've made the right decisions. And the relief of, you know, no longer being, as I said, John Dunn, and now going back and switch my BlackBerry on tomorrow and getting back to it. But there was something about this week that I can't really explain. It's great. I have to say, looking back on it now, it's definitely worthwhile doing. Maybe look a little bit more at myself, and I don't know, I feel different.
New York is the home of hotelier John Fitzpatrick. He travelled back to Ireland and spent his week undercover in Dundalk.
Getting off Dublin Airport, I had no idea what to expect. And it did worry me because all along that name just put me off it. I had no idea about Dundalk. I was never in Dundalk in my life. So the perception was, you know, you're just passing the way to Belfast.
As with the other two millionaires, John lived in the community while he searched for people and charities that he could help.
A lot of people said to me, are you sure you want to do this? You know, do you know what you're letting yourself in for? And I kept saying, yeah, I do, but I didn't. Then it says, okay, you're beginning to feel sorry for yourself now, so snap out of it. It's not Fitzpatrick's. Once you get into a place and you get settled, it's funny how you become accustomed.
Elderly people who are isolated and alone was something that John wanted to tackle. Cuddy Lynn was a charity John discovered which was working to reach out to those older people who needed help.
Put them in the residential care.
So what are the different things you do here?
Well, we have a visitation service. It could be someone just phoning to say, listen, I'm not able to go and pick my prescription up, and we'll go and pick the prescription up.
What I actually loved about it was a way of visiting the elderly without actually knocking on the door and saying, are you okay?
Well, we're dealing with mostly as people who are on their own. They don't have family around them to help them to do things like that. And so they can turn to us then, and we will go out and do that sort of work for them.
Andrea brought John on one of her care visits to meet disabled couple Tim and Diane. At the time, they were on a waiting list for a wheelchair-accessible home.
Things have been hard for them, as you can imagine, depression and whatever setting them.
And the two of them in a wheelchair?
Both are wheelchair-bound.
When I met Tim and Diane and I saw that house, I mean, that was kind of probably the worst part of the week.
Just looking at the house, I mean, there's 2 stories here, so I presume you guys can't get upstairs. So you probably haven't. How long is it since you were upstairs in the house?
I've never been upstairs in this house because I was in a wheelchair from when we.
My God, that's right.
When we came to this house, Diane used to before she was in the wheelchair.
How long are you in the wheelchair?
5 years.
So basically, upstairs is never used.
Yeah. And it's a real struggle to try and live in this house. Diane can't go to bed because there's not room in the bedroom. Yeah, so it's quite a problem to us.
That's what I kind of find it hard to relate to. How someone can be so confined. It's like, it's awful.
If they weren't around, you'd really be in trouble, wouldn't you?
Yeah. They've been such a great help to us, you know. Prescriptions in the winter when neither of us could go out, and all of the ladies who've been here have not made you feel in any way that you're a burden to them, and that's great. It's lovely to feel that way.
You kind of feel annoyed when you walk out of there. And as I said, to kind of reflect on myself, you know, we all think we've got problems, and, you know, we don't have problems when you see that. Tim sleeps on the bed because he's diabetes and he has to have the machines connected to him. So Diane, basically, there's no room for her, so she kind of, from what I gather, pulls the wheelchair up to the side of the bed and just puts her head on it. It's horrific. Seeing... I can't say. Why I decided to support Quigilin in the end was, even though they were well organised, they were definitely short of funding. You have been good to me all week. What you and Kieran do has really inspired me. So, I want to tell you something. Let's be honest, they all thought I was somebody else. Now I had to tell them who I really was, and at the same time hand them a cheque, and it was just tough. But to see her reaction, I'm a very successful business person, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to help. And what I'd like to do is give you a cheque for 15,000 euros, which I'd love to go to help buy a second vehicle so you can help visit more of the elderly around here.
No way.
Yes, darling.
That's sick. I believe you.
Listen, you are fantastic.
Delighted. Absolutely delighted.
Yeah,
That would
darling,
be
you're
so
fantastic.
much for us. John's after Guinness.
This is a check.
Yes, for us. It's after Guinness.
Yes. Thank you very much.
You don't think you believe it, do you?
Unbelievable.
Massive difference. I'm just, my head's just spinning. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Because when you donate money, you're saying, I wonder, did I do the right thing? But this one was a no-brainer. You show the real side of our community. And you know what I mean?
I'm just in shock.
If what you're doing in America ever goes tits up, you can have a job here.
It is over a year now since John Fitzpatrick went undercover in Dondor. Tim and Diane needed more than money to improve their situation. Soon after filming, John began a campaign to persuade the local authorities to give them a new home.
After visiting Tim and Diane and driving back in the car to Dublin, I realised that I had to do something. They haven't moved since we did the show a year and 2 months ago. They are still living in that kitchen. If we had just done nothing, it would have been then just a TV show, to me. And then the TV show was over and we forgot about it, but we just couldn't do that.
He's been in constant contact with the county council and with the town council.
Give me a date.
Has not took his eye off the ball regarding Tim and Diane being rehoused.
We finally got a couple of contacts in town planning, went to see them. These guys got behind it and agreed to build Tim and Diane a new house.
Work on the new house provided by the council is almost complete. This is the first time that Tim and Diane have seen it for themselves.
They're saying 3 weeks, so I'm going to say 4 weeks, okay? But I'm coming back from the States, definitely, from when you move in.
I am very excited. We've seen pictures, but it's not the same.
We saw them installing the underfloor heating and things like that. But I'd say there's a lot we don't know or that we haven't got right in our minds at the present time.
I'm calling it Tim and Diane's penthouse because it's huge and they haven't seen it.
Well, I think the biggest things are going to be Diane's things, really, the bed, you know. I've actually been able to go to bed, having not been able to go to bed for so many years. Ah, so that's the front door.
The front door. And it's the front door you can get into.
Yeah.
Not like your other front door where you have to go backwards into it.
Yeah.
Big.
Isn't it so big? This is huge.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's gorgeous, yeah.
Oh, this is going to be great. You can wash up without getting it all running back down your arms because it's the right level. Yeah. Oh, that's marvellous.
This is your bedroom. What do you think?
It's absolutely marvellous. The thought of actually being able to go to bed is, I think that's one of the, you know, the most important thing, to be actually able to go to bed at night.
Look at your bathroom.
Oh, it's marvellous.
You couldn't ask for more.
Just so grateful of all, and there's so many people that have been involved, that have put themselves out for us, and we're just so grateful, you know, for what they've done. Thank you isn't enough. It isn't enough, you know.
Never a year ago did we dream that this would all be possible. And I have to say, only for his good work and pushing, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Now to be able to walk away and say that they have a proper place to live, definitely, it's been worth the whole year. And I tell you, and it'll be worth many years to come, because I'm just so, see their reaction on their faces today just makes it all so worthwhile.
Meanwhile in Dundalk, John Fitzpatrick was on the hunt for an organisation that helped young people. The growing drug problem was highlighted in the local paper and mentioned a youth group trying to keep kids off the streets.
Yeah, there's an article here. Some guy done a survey showing drug use in one of the estates. So this might be an interesting one to look at.
John arranged to visit that group, Creabh Rua, a small youth centre staffed by manager Caroline and Jacinta.
This is it. This is Creabh Rua Community House.
First of all, what shocked me was the size of the place, a little council house. I'm kind of saying to myself, oh, why come here? Why don't you just go home and do your homework?
How are you?
Then I got to understand what it's all about. It's helping them with their homework, making sure they're not left behind.
So if they're doing their homework here, but if they get into, they can't answer something or they can't figure out, there's always somebody here.
Of course, yeah, they're being supervised.
Supervised, exactly. Rather than going home and trying to just do it on their own.
That's it, and finding difficulty in not doing it and then getting behind at school and the whole lot, that there is support here.
We do drug awareness, sexual health, knife crime is the up-and-coming thing now.
Right.
This could be the results, even if, Teresa, someone has a knife and they poke you with it.
Moved by the children he met there and the staff working in difficult conditions, John felt he had to do something to help.
That Creabh Rua one to me was a killer. This gift will be a start. It won't be enough, but it'll be a start to get them really where they want to get. Now, I haven't been totally honest with you all week, so I feel pretty bad about it. I'm not doing a documentary. I own 2 hotels in Manhattan, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to help you. What I'd like to do is give you a cheque for 20,000 euros to go through the new extension, but also to help the kids. They were actually in shock, if you noticed. They actually said nothing first, and then I said, oh my God, what's wrong? And then they were in such shock, they thought it was a joke. And it's not a joke. I don't think the house would be the house without you two. You two are the heart and soul of the house. I mean, I walk in the door, I feel like it's home. And I feel what the kids feel. And it's just...
Lovely. He really is a lovely man. I think when you're walking with kids, you do think of them as your family, and John kind of just slotted in there. So he's a lovely man, you know. He's even nicer now.
Now, 1 year on, John is returning to Creabh Rua. In these challenging economic times, getting the building work underway has proven difficult.
The main reason for coming back is just to try and get this extension moving forward. Oh, ladies!
Rachel got new lipstick.
I saw the lipstick. I saw the lipstick. It's a fantastic house. It really is. And you know, the ladies and Caroline and Jacinta and Roshi, they all do great work. They've opened up another room upstairs, so things are progressing.
This is the room the boys had done then and was officially launched by Minister Francis Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
It's a mental health room.
Good. So I haven't seen this one.
No.
This one I haven't seen.
Youth Work Ireland has a plan in hand, but the ambition for the project will need to be scaled back.
From what our conversations on the phone and our meetings is, this is the original plan. I would suggest that we revisit this. We'll design it in such a way that it will have the full plan for the 2 stories, but we'll only build the first floor. If we can do it that way, there's a chance then I could raise more money. I said if we go for something smaller, reduce the size of it, at a less cost, maybe we can raise more money privately to build the first floor, and then we can do the second floor in 2 stages. Nothing comes simple, so we'll go back to the drawing board and we'll start all over again.
John Fitzpatrick found one more group that made a positive impression on him. Paul Taff runs O'Hanlon's Boxing Club that provides an outlet for children from all over the city.
I presume they come from all estates, all areas, and whatever it is.
We have them from Moore, we have them from Key, Cox's Main, Fatima, Cullerville, Termafackin. So they're coming in from everywhere, and it's a nice family unit we have.
O'Hanlon's Boxing Club is dependent on hiring this parish hall. Everyone involved is a volunteer. Paul and his team have to set everything up from scratch and dismantle the lot 3 times a week for each session.
This is our training now for the week.
This is my workout for the day.
This is my workout for the day.
Couldn't understand how he could put that boxing ring together if I remember, it's every Monday night, every Wednesday night, and every Sunday morning. That's a lot of work.
1, 2, 3.
Do they have to pay to come in?
Well, it's €2 per child, and what happens to that €2? That covers everything for the child. So when a child comes into our club and we take them away, it costs them absolutely nothing.
And if they come in and they don't have the €2?
Doesn't make any difference. It's not about the money. At the end of the day, we will always get money somewhere along the line to take these children away. The club doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the community. No one person owns the club. I started it up, and it's about getting the whole community to interact.
I actually felt I hadn't given enough, and I felt a bit embarrassed giving him the 2,000. I don't know how many times he came back to me after, and he said, John, that small amount of money gave me enough money to buy boxing gloves and head protectors for the next year. What are you talking about?
I'm speechless, that's what I'm going to say to you. So I haven't been speechless before.
In the boxing club, John has discovered a project that he can take on and that he hopes will make a lasting difference.
Didn't expect to hear him from again. I got a phone call around the November, December mark, and he actually would he meet me in McGeo's pub.
A light bulb went on in my head, and I said, look, hold on. Paul, we see each other, you're still going out to that club. Where is this club of yours? And then I felt guilty. 7 months later, I still hadn't been down to see his original club. So I went down to look at it. You couldn't get 2 boxing gloves into the place, never mind about a boxing ring. So we said, hold on, if we're going to do anything, let's now start. It's going to take probably a year, 2 years, and we'll just plan it. Let's try and get an extension here, and we fund an extension. Since we were here last, now we've got full planning permission, is that right?
Yeah. The ring is going to be down this end of the hall, which is down here.
Right.
As you come in here, there'll be an upstairs then where we plan to put the sort of the youth club upstairs, and the boxing and things will be downstairs.
The beauty with this now, compared to where you are, Paul, is instead of how many nights do you in the other place?
Well, we're 3 nights in the other place at the present moment, where we've all dedicated for everybody here now. It's full time.
One of the other reasons why I'm here tonight is because we said we do some fundraising through my parents' memorial fund, and we had our big tournament a few months ago in New York. I explained to all my supporters over in New York what the O'Halloran Boxing Club was and where you were working from and how you did it. Got them to sponsor, to be part of it. And I said, in other words, to buy a brick, build a future. By buying a brick, you were sponsoring a kid. The idea then was that you'd help build the boxing club. So it went down very well. And the good news is we raised 75,000.
For years, I've tried to get someone down to the club to see what work I was doing in the club at the time. And I couldn't get anyone down. And then to get John down and get the £2,000 was a massive bonus to me and to the children, right? But to come up tonight and hand me $75,000 was magic.
When I told them the amount, I think they got a shock because they had no idea. I mean, they were talking about doing a raffle a few months ago, and I said if they got 4,000 or 5,000, I'd be happy. So to get 75,000, it's amazing. Most people in the room that night bought a brick, and we couldn't believe it, but $75,000. So we said 2 years. Maybe we'll do it slightly under 2 years. So that's exciting. So that's my next project going forward, is to get the boxing club done, and it's going to be fun.
I met him, I knew he'd a heart and a half, and to me, like, he's what I call it, he's the salt of the earth.
Looking back over the year now, a year and a half, and realise what I've got involved in, it's been fantastic. What was the best part now in the last year since you started singing?
Meeting you what?
Once every 6-7 weeks I'll probably be up here. Well, the reason I'm here so often is because it's not finished yet. It's like work in progress, and, you know, I can see myself being here for the next few years.